Hi there, Cheryl here, and I have a lovely Thanksgiving card just full of fall leaves, and it's easy to do. You don't need a lot of supplies for it, and it obviously, because there's not a lot of dimension here, it will go through the mail just fabulous. Some things with a lot of dimension on them, they don't travel so well, but this one certainly will. So what you'll need for this is a piece of the crushed curry cardstock. This is 5.5 by 8.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4, so it makes a 5 and no, it's 5.5 by I'd said it right. Oh my goodness! But it makes a 5.5 by 4 1/4 card. So just a standard envelope for that. Then we're going to make this. I'll show you how I did that. And this is a piece that's, let's see, it's 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And if you have a problem making things come off the edges of the cards when you're stamping a background, then cut a bigger piece, do your sponging or stamping, and then trim it to fit, and then you can trim off edges and it will automatically make all these little bits like go off the side. I have a piece of either Mossy Meadow, or if you still have Always Artichoke cardstock left, either one of those will work fine. And this is 3 3/4 by 5. That will mat our, just give us a nice little mat on here. Plus, from the center of that, we're going to cut our little decorative oval. Yeah, we're going to be very economical here. I'm going to cut that from the center. And when you do that, as you notice, I have to do it yet. Line it all up nice the way you want it, and then use a bit of tape. I like painter's tape, and I stick it on my clothing a couple times to take a little bit of sticky stuff off, and then I just use it until it doesn't stick anymore. So I just stick that on the handle of my Big Shot and keep that. So I'll be cutting that out in just a little bit. So those two pieces came from the Layering Ovals Framelits dies. That's the largest scallop die, and then the third from the largest oval. I also use the Pleasant Pheasants. It's got such nice sentiments in it for Thanksgiving, wishing you health, happiness, and the riches of God's bounty during this season and always. And then, of course, the Happy Thanksgiving for on the front. And then my leaves came from, let's see, it's the Seasonal Layers Thinlits Dies. And I used the two maple leaves, and I cut myself a stencil from acetate because I'm doing so many of them. You could cut it from regular cardstock if you want to, and maybe you'll be able to get all of them done without starting to ruin your template. But this is something I thought I would use a lot, and because it's acetate, I also put front on it. Now, you know, when you die cut things, there is a front and a back, and the back side has, you can feel it with your finger, it has a little rough edge. So I marked mine front so that when I sponge, I don't chew up my little sponge daubers while I was working with that. Plus, by having that on there, it makes it easier to see when I set it down on my table, and I don't lose it. I'm really good at losing things. Then I also have a piece of very vanilla cardstock. This is for on the inside. This is 5 by 3 3/4. And then I have another little strip here. It's about 1 1/4 inches wide by about 5 inches. If yours is a little bigger than that, that's fine, because we're going to trim that down. So let's do that first. Oh, And I should tell you what inks I'm using. I'm using the Tuxedo Black, the Memento ink for that. Crushed Curry, Mossy Meadow, and Mango Melody. Those are going to be for our leaves. And then I have the corresponding sponge daubers for those, and also Tombow glue. And we'll need a pair of scissors too. So let's stamp the Happy Thanksgiving first. Oh, I meant to ink this up. I think it'll be alright though. I'll just try to work around the edges a little bit with this. I'm going to stamp that as close to the center as I can. Okay, it's a little crooked. Let me try it again. It's a little hard to do. The camera is like right under my chin. So I have to kind of look around the camera. Nah, that's better. I'll use that one. Okay, so I'm going to trim that down to, let me see how wide I made this, because this is such a nice size here, right there. Okay, so that's at like 3/4 of an inch. So let me get my trimmer in here. I have everything set up so that I can reach almost everything without standing up. Is that lazy or what? Okay, so I'm gonna, let's see. Right there. I'm just looking at my sentiment here, and I'm just using my guide to determine where I want that. Okay, so I've trimmed the top edge. Now I'll trim the bottom edge. That's a little harder to do because there's nothing much to hold on to here. You know what I'm going to do? Haha. I'm going to be tricky. Okay, and that's the one we're using. I'm going to put a little bit of repositionable tape on the back. And I'll line that up where I want it. And I'm just going to stick it down. That looks like it could come over a little bit. I'm using my grid lines to line it up. I'm looking at my grid lines here. Okay. That looks good. So there's our nice little strip now to use for the center. I'm going to use my Mango Melody ink. Oh, that's still a little stiff. And let's see, which one's my stamp? Or my sponge dauber right there. I'm going to sponge the edge of that. Just to give it a little something something. And I'm not going to do these ends because those are going to be cut off. They're going to go right over the edge of the card and get cut off. Okay, so I'll be right back. I'm going to go away. I'm going to cut out my ovals here, and then we'll start putting the card. Oh, I should show you. Let me show you how to do the leaves too before I go away. Okay, I just have a little scrap here. And there's my stencil, and we're just going to set that down. And like I said, you want to go off the edges, so put in all of your large leaves first. Okay, I'm going to start with the Mango Melody. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to start with a crushed curry, but I'm going to open up all my stamp pads here. There we go. Boy, these new stamp pads, if you take your stamp pads on the road and go to stamping clubs or something, you sure don't have to worry about them opening up on you. Okay. Oh my gosh, I have pumpkin pie. That's not what I want. I don't want pumpkin pie. Oh, let me just grab a clean one. There we go. I'm going to start with my crushed curry because that's the lightest color. And just put some color down in the middle here. And then I'll go to, that is, yes, it is crushed curry. Okay. Alright, then I'll go to my Mango Melody and go more around the outside of the leaves. And remember, when you're sponging, start light, go heavier if you need to, and it will lighten up a little bit as it dries, so keep that in mind. And then with my Mossy Meadow, I'm just going to come in, just do not even all of them. As a matter of fact, as you're doing your leaves, you could use just 2 of the colors. You could use just 1 of the colors and vary it up. But this looks kind of nice. So there's my big leaf. And you see, I'll do another one. Let's see. I'm just going to use crushed curry on this one. And if you overlap, that's kind of cool. Now, when I take this off, you're going to see something a little different here. It's not going to really be just crushed curry. Because I'm using the acetate, there are inks still left on the acetate. So I do have, let me get a little bit more there. I do have a little bit of the Mossy Meadow there. And it gives us such a nice dimensional look to it without having actual dimension. Now, when you got all your big leaves in, you leave some spaces in between, then take your little one and put that where you want it on your paper. And we'll do that one with all 3 colors. The crushed curry, the mango, and I'm not even going to pick up any ink on my sponge dauber because I just want a little bit on this one. And there we go. And that's just all you do. You just fill the whole paper this way. So, which I'm not going to do in the video because it takes a bit of time to do. So, let me go cut now I'll go cut my ovals out. I'll clean up my table here a little bit since I have ink on it now. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've been a little busy while I was gone. I also did the inside of the card. I sponged a couple of the leaves, just here and here, and then I stamped the sentiment for the inside. I have my little oval for the front. I have my little scrap that will go back into my little pockets that I keep my scraps in. Let's see. So, and here's the other pieces. So we're ready to put this together. So the first thing I'm going to do is put these 2 together. Now there's just a teeny tiny little edge of the green around here. take my Tombow and put just around the edge. I'm using the Tombow glue for this because that gives me a little bit of time to get everything all lined up. Okay, then next I'll put that on my card front. I'll make sure that's opening correctly. Oh, I wanted to share something else with you. I went over to my Big Shot and cut it out, and I remembered that I bought one of the set of the colored plates. These are now going to be my top plates, the ones that do not get cut. I've tried to do that, and I always seem to forget or just not pay attention, and then end up cutting my plate that I want to keep as my top plate. So I got myself a set of the colored ones this time, since I needed to buy some new plates anyway. I got colored ones, and this is one of them that I'm using now for my top plate, and the color will remind me not to use that to cut into. Okay, so back to the card. We'll put some Tombow on this bit. We'll attach that to the front. And if you don't like the wide borders, you can always make your little mats for the front a little bigger. I kind of like having different sized mats. I think it makes it more interesting. I'll glue the one on the inside. And of course, if you want more dimension on your card, you can always use whatever, dimensionals or craft foam or old cereal boxes. I do that quite often. Sometimes I use the cereal boxes to pop things up. I say mention the craft foam or cereal boxes because if you're sending it through the mail, by having a large area covered with whatever you're using to pop it up, it will keep it from getting all mushed down. You use little dots, it could get little ripply, weird looking things going on. Okay, so my Happy Thanksgiving, I'm going to put that right across the center of the front of the card here. And I'm lining up. Don't pay any attention to the happy. Pay attention to the Thanksgiving part, because as you can see, that's kind of offset. You want that Thanksgiving lined up in the middle, or as close to the middle as you can. I think right about there looks good to me. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to turn it over very carefully like this, now that I know where I want it. And I'll put some Tombow glue on here. I'm not doing the very ends, just right here. Okay, so now I'll just flip that over, and there it is. Okay, then I'll put my oval on top here, and it should be pretty well centered. Of course, our decorative background here that we made helps to disguise any mistakes that we might make, as it draws the eye away from whether you're exactly in the middle or exactly lined up. And there we go. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to flip this over, and trim these ends off with my scissors. I find it's easier to do from the back. It gives me that nice card edge there to guide my scissors. And there we go. Our card's finished. Voila! Actually, the thing that takes the most time is doing the leaves, and that's kind of fun, so it's not a big hardship. And here we go. Here's our card. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If there are any products you'd like to purchase from Stampin Up, I am a independent demonstrator for Stampin Up, and I would be thrilled if you used me as your demonstrator. You can do that either through my Facebook page or my blog. If you have any questions or comments, then feel free to leave those down below. I do check them. I try to get back to people as quickly as I can. I check my my sites at least once a day anyway. Sometimes 2 or 3 times. So sometimes it's 6 hours, 12 hours till I get back to you. Sometimes it's almost real time if I just happen to be sitting at my laptop at that time. If you've liked the video, hit that like button. I check those too. Yes, I do. And if you'd like to see more of my videos, then hit the subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed. And to my subscribers, I want to thank you all for subscribing to my video. I'm up well over 1,000 subscribers now, and it just amazes me that many people are that interested in little old me. So, y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.